Happy Saturday, you beautiful patriots, you big cats, you big lions out there, big H's in the house, also known as the big cat. Like I said, happy Saturday. This DEI explanation by Colin Wright is so important to spread around. So if you would like, subscribe, share me, that would be excellent. I would really appreciate it. But let's go right into what he has to say because diversity, equity, and inclusion is turning America upside down for all the wrong reasons. So check it out.
Ever since I was a teenager, I thought I wanted to be a college professor. I've always cared deeply about the pursuit of truth, so that seemed like a perfect career for me. When I first made the decision to pursue a career as an academic scientist, it appeared I could simply focus on learning the literature, asking questions, formulating hypotheses, designing and executing experiments, and then conveying my findings as clearly as possible in scientific journals. But that didn't turn out to be the case. When it came time to start applying for university professor positions, it became clear that my ability to do science or teach students was only a portion of what they cared about.
Now he's speaking amazing truth right here because believe it or not, like if you grow up, you want to be a fireman and you get there and you become fire chief, that's what he's doing. He's growing up. He wanted to do, investigative science and he had to go through all the steps through college to get there. And he's finding out in the real world, they don't give a crap about that.
Many universities had adopted a new policy. They insisted that applicants submit a diversity, equity, and inclusion statement. What is that? Generally, a DEI statement asks applicants to explain all the ways that they have contributed to fostering diversity in the past and how they will continue doing so in the future. Sometimes they even asked me to explicitly list all of the racial and sexual minorities I had ever mentored.
Now, is that not crazy? Now, in the Marxist situation, they couldn't get us if they wanted to come in with tanks. They didn't want to come in with soldiers. What they did was they wanted to break down our civil liberties, the way we treat each other, our social factors, race, gender, sexuality. And that's how they got everybody to fight. And they're doing it. Everybody's fighting about it. Now, if I go out on the streets, I have people that, I bump into that are beautiful people. But if you watch mainstream media, they're going to paint everything into conflict.
Now, I care deeply about diversity, equity, and inclusion, but these DEI statements only wanted me to care about two kinds of diversity: diversity of physical appearance, like skin color, and gender and sexual identity. They only cared about inclusion of those two groups, and they only cared about equity if it meant equal outcomes rather than the fair and equal treatment of individuals. But as an academic, I care more about fostering diversity of thought and advancing science than people's immutable characteristics.
There you go. That's the way it should be. He just said it in one sentence. And like I said, follow this man on X, Twitter, X, formerly known as Twitter. This is very well articulated.
I've mentored plenty of racial and sexual minorities, but listing them to advance my own career didn't sit well with me. I never chose who to mentor or hire on that basis. I hire scientists because they happen to be the best candidates for the job. That's true equity.
Perfect.
To think about my mentees solely in terms of their skin color, gender, or sexual orientation felt dehumanizing, like I was taking all their complexity, individuality, and humanity and reducing it to a single trait. Many DEI statement prompts make it clear what's expected of the applicant. To score well on UC Berkeley's DEI statement, for instance, applicants are explicitly told they're not to disagree with the use of racial affinity groups, which is the practice of racially segregating coworkers based on their skin color. I hardly see how morally objectionable segregation increases diversity.
For me, it's called reverse racism, and they're doing it right in front of us.
Why was I being required to agree with this in order to apply for a job as a scientist? In many instances, these DEI statements were being used as a first filter for job applicants, meaning that applications with low-scoring DEI statements would not even be considered, no matter how brilliant of a scientist or a professor they were. And commitment to this kind of DEI is often a requirement for tenure or other promotions.
See, now that's also segregating brilliant minds, because brilliant minds with open hearts are going to solve or beat these warlike issues as far as the gender and race is considered.
Not wanting to abandon my principles of diversity of thought, equity of treatment, and inclusion of anyone who can advance scientific progress, I ended up abandoning my dream of becoming an academic, a career I had pursued for over a decade. But this video really isn't about me. I'm okay, I do work that I love, writing about science for the general public. However, my experience is anything but unique. I've heard stories from dozens of my scientific colleagues who've also felt uncomfortable and confused about why they're being asked to pledge adherence to an intolerant ideology that has nothing to do with science. Many of my colleagues who currently have academic jobs, some tenured even, are worried that their fundamental disagreements with how their departments are pursuing DEI might result in their firing. Some are even so afraid that they're simply pretending to agree.
See, now that makes it a chaotic workplace. So let's just say you have 40 people under you, and if you're really strict about that, and it's the person that's in charge is doing the worst parts of it, yet if anybody raises their hand in the group under, they're gone. And you can't run a company like that. It's the snake eating its tail right now. So this fellow's spot on.
The pursuit of truth requires a strong commitment to academic freedom and free speech. If academics are self-censoring rather than voicing their honest opinions, we have a major problem. In that environment, universities can no longer function as institutions primarily concerned with finding truth. DEI statements don't foster diversity, but conformity.
Boom.
They don't result in equity, but unfairness.
Boom.
They're not about inclusion, but rather the exclusion of people with differing opinions.
Boom.
We need diversity of thought to get the best ideas to fight racism and bigotry, but the DEI orthodoxy prevents that. Without including diverse perspectives, we cannot identify our own blind spots. And when we create blind spots in the name of justice, no matter how good one's intentions are, we can end up with severe consequences. I'm Colin Wright. Join me in doing DEI right and building a better academia at fairforall.org.
All right, there it is. You got to follow that. That's absolutely amazing. I can't tell you how much I agree with this fellow, and I'm hoping that you absorb this, because DEI is a function. Diversity, no. Equity, no. Inclusion, no. What it is it's reverse racism, reverse sexuality, all that stuff. So like, subscribe, share me, pass this around. You can find me at BFES56 on Twitter. And of course, you can like and subscribe here on YouTube. Thank you so much. I love you guys. I hope you have a great Saturday. Take care.